What's up, guys? This is gonna be a bit shorter than usual because, well, we'll get there, but hopefully you'll enjoy the ride all the same. We have to talk about Blizzard bending over to a fraction of their audience's demands to change the look of a character and potentially more characters in the future after the voice actress for the character, who is an activist, whipped them up into a frenzy, citing all manner of nonsense that we'll be jumping into in a second. This generated a big controversy, and it's a bit of a complicated and nuanced matter, so please bear with me here. I'm gonna lay it all out, see if you guys can understand both sides of the conversation here, and then give my take. So let's just jump right in there and lay it out. So this story is a bit more complicated than it looks at first, but frankly I didn't feel like going as deep into this thing because I'm not even that invested into Overwatch as a game. And sometimes I feel some stories don't really need the full December program, you know what I mean? I'll be real with you guys right now, I'm not even an Overwatch player. I played this game way back in the day when it was still fresh. I had some casual fun for a while, like maybe for a few months, and then dropped it because it was just not my kind of thing. The key points of what's going on here is this. There has been some complaints thrown at Blizzard for the blandness in Overwatch's characters' faces. This has been criticism that's been around for months now, and Blizzard has done nothing about it. There's even been a meme video out there of a person who took one face, made it bald, and then cut out every hairstyle and head accessory from the characters and then just pasted it on top. And they looked pretty similar to the original designs, because it quite literally feels like Blizzard has been reusing them and just changing the hairstyles. We'll talk more about Overwatch 2's bland character designs later. So yeah, there are valid complaints floating around out there that Blizzard should do a bit of a better job differentiating their characters' faces for the game, and in general make more striking designs instead of being so lazy. But now, enter the activist. This here is Farija or some shit, you know, she's a plant, right? Okay, just gonna come out and say it. Actually, okay, hold on, let me check the real definition of the word. Oh, so it comes from music and stuff. Okay, well, never mind, guys. I guess she's not a plant. She's just an example of one of those situations where a game company hires a content creator who really likes the games to play a character because they're clean, sparkly, and safe for the brand. Kinda like Young Ya, and now if you play one of the Yakuza games in English language, which you should never do to begin with, to be honest, but if you do, you have to listen to cringy, awful voice acting from a YouTuber instead of an actual voice actor. Because these people think that if you hire a YouTuber, you automatically get his subscribers as players. Good luck with that one. But jokes aside and all that, I will just lay it out flat. I do not like this lady, and the reason why is because she got herself into a very privileged position by being able to get into this game, and now that she's there, she's advocating for things that are very harmful for the company, and that may very well result in the layoffs of the people who make the game that she apparently loves so much. The games industry has been facing an absolute reckoning when it comes to stuff like this. Crazy numbers of layoffs are sweeping across multiple studios, big and small, and it is simply the worst time imaginable to be inviting activism into studios, or people like this who act entitled, think they know better than anyone else what it is that the games require, advocate for shit that has been sinking studios, using their big audiences online to pretend, that's the big key problem here, to pretend like unpopular ideas are actually popular, and then, as a result, when the layoffs hit the developers, they're just fine, because they're just actors, ready to get hired elsewhere, or in her case, a streamer to whom it doesn't even matter if the game makes it or not. Farisha, not just being a shill, is also an activist advocating for game companies to deliberately make their characters uglier, as that should be more realistic and socially responsible. Why would you make an argument geared towards realism for a game like Overwatch? Well, I don't know, but these people have to try and justify their nonsense one way or another, because if they just come out and say that they want uglier characters for the sake of it, then they're going to look delusional. Why would she also make arguments geared towards social responsibility for a video game in general? Well, that's because she's retarded.
I know you're not retarded. But what are you, Down syndrome?
Now, as I was saying, she made this whole damn video here. I'd play it for you guys, but I just love you guys too much. I don't have it in me to torture you with nearly 4 minutes of cringe, so I'll just cut the most important bit, which is this.
I'm nervous about this video because I didn't want to not address the elephant in the room, but I didn't want to step on the devs' toes or speak on their behalf, because it's this tightrope in my mind of trying to honor the community and everyone's criticisms, because I agree, and also give grace to the developers because they're always trying their best in the situation they're in. I got to mourn Anran between the design I had hoped for her and the design we ended up with. There was a precedent set by it. There was a unspoken promise that said, we're going to challenge the beauty standards plaguing and ransacking media these days, right? The Ozempic chic, the contour your nose, you have no nose, the tiniest nose.
Unspoken, right, so in other words, there was nothing there and you just made it up in your head. Also, if there's anything ransacking media these days, it's dogshit designs advocated for by people like you, who live in a delusional world where video games are supposed to do shit like that in the first place for social impact. They really don't. And number two, who think that the majority of people are bothered with that instead of actually wanting just normal, basic, good old-fashioned, good character design.
And I think because of that precedence, people feel understandably let down.
Nope. People have been let down by the sameness of various characters' faces, not because characters aren't being made to look like shit on purpose.
Overwatch is a trailblazer at challenging that, right? Of trying to break those molds, of trying to explore the bounds of what it means to be good, what it looks like to be heroic.
No, what the f*** are you talking about? Look at the first game's characters. What molds were they breaking? Like, what are you talking about?
And I think the result we got says something else.
Like, how about you just play the game like a normal person, instead of hoping that a video game represents some weird parasocial bullshit about being a hero. Today, it's the look of the character, the shape of the body. Tomorrow, who knows what else it'll be. Video games are not meant to represent you, or me, or my neighbor Frank. They're just video games. Especially Overwatch, it's a hero shooter live service.
Right? She looks like the younger sibling. She looks more docile. Somehow, as the fire hero, she looks more docile than the most docile peacekeeping support in the game. But I wanted you to hear that this concern is important. This is a hill worth dying on. It's worth speaking on. Because I believe that the more we speak up about the things that truly matter to us, the more we'll see ourselves reflected in the world around us. And I want you to know that I shared all of this with the dev team. Not only that, I was encouraged to be as open and honest as possible, to not hold anything back. And it's my hope that this isn't for naught. I will keep championing it, championing for the version of her that we all wished for, right? And I want you to do the same with boldness, with kindness, and with hopium.
Dude, you need to chill. Like, I don't know what you've been drinking or smoking or injecting yourself with, but you need to, like dial way off, dude. You're legitimately thinking that people give half as much of a shit about this character than you do because you are voicing it. I can guarantee you that nobody else gives half of a fuck as much that you do. Maybe the developers who designed her, and even then I don't think so because the design is very basic. You need to drink some water, and you need to find other ways to validate whatever the fuck it is that you got going on here outside of video games, okay? Video games are here to make money. It's okay if you get to the point where it transcends that and you create something that you're more passionate about in some way or another, but we're talking about Overwatch, okay? We're not talking about The Last of Us, we're not talking about Red Dead Redemption, we're not talking about BioShock, we're not talking about like one of those small games that you know, like story-driven, super narrative-focused games where sometimes it's really just a story. We're talking about Overwatch. We're talking about a hero shooter, sweetheart, okay? What the hell are we doing here? These games are here to make money. This kind of shit that you're advocating for doesn't make money. Developers are free to follow in whatever, nonsense you're suggesting to them, of course. And if they do, it's just welcome to another round of layoffs, and I'll be here to receive them with memes on the internet for listening to you instead of continuing down a better path of reviving their game, which has been swallowed up by Marvel rivals. And that's it for this response. This was recorded after the video, by the way, so I'm putting it in retroactively, and now we're going to get back to the sauce, okay, fellas? See you later. This is the big issue in this whole matter. This is why this voice actress, whose name is way too difficult for me to pronounce correctly, fuck it, let's just call her Jarvis. So Jarvis over here has been getting defended by some folks online who keep trying to misconstrue what she's advocating for with what I talked about at the start of the video in regards to Blizzard being lazy with their characters' faces looking too similar to one another. But as you just heard, that's not what Jarvis's problem is. Her problems run much deeper. It's the same usual bullshit we've been dealing with for a few years now, where God forbid a female character shows any skin, or is given a curvy body, or has inherently feminine features given any relevance, such as breasts or thicker thighs, or a bit of a butt, or in some cases, even just a pretty face. Remember just a couple of weeks ago, these weirdos lost their minds with this character from an upcoming indie game called Knight's Path? It's literally just a cute looking blonde girl smiling. And for some of these folks, this is already too much. They were making arguments based about reality like that. They were, medieval girls didn't look like this, they looked like horses. Like, what the are we doing? This is at its core what Jarvis is advocating against. It's not that every Overwatch character shares faces that look similar. It's not that, oh, I can't believe she wasn't looking exactly like in the animated thing. Like, no, if this was it, then that's all that she would mention. That's it. That's all she would say. She would validate what a lot of people in the community have been saying for, I was gonna say years, not years, for months now, and that's about it. But instead, that's not what she did. Instead, she's whipping up soy boys and other activists into a frenzy, once again speaking in regards to challenging body and beauty standards in video games. She even mentioned the Ozempic thing, like blatantly, advocating for characters to be fat as well. Like, why are we doing this? This is a plague on the games industry, man, and the funny thing is that somehow it worked. After Jarvis's video came out and a bit of noise, most of which was actually people fighting in comment sections, clearly showing that this is not the popular idea at all, it's been met with a lot of backlash, including backlash from Chinese players who are being even harsher than your average Westerner comment on social media, since Anran is meant to be a Chinese character. And this is the cope for hiring her, by the way. It's like, oh shit, we need a Chinese voice actress for our character because our character is Chinese. So I guess let's offer it to this Canadian streamer, and then the Canadian streamer starts claiming ownership over the character as if she had any extra say on the matter because she happens to have Chinese heritage. Does it mean that we have to sacrifice that femininity? Meanwhile, the Chinese players are like, hey, can you stop pushing your gay-ass Western nonsense on our characters? And by the way, I cleaned up the language by a large margin here, okay? I swear, man, if there's people out there who just say anything on the internet and don't care about anything at all, it's Asians, okay? Then I also see examples of disingenuous cope from the actress. I'll share a recent example of what I mean. So this is some fanart she retweeted with the usual fake bot reaction like, OMG, chills, I got chills from this. And it's literally just, I swear, man, this is why I'm going to become an alcoholic making these videos. You got a symbolic thing here, right? So you got the old character design giving way to the newer and much more improved underneath. But what exactly is the standard here? Ditching the cartoony big eyes and the smile for something that looks exactly the same? It's just that the proportions of the facial features are smaller, you know, for example, the eyes, we see that the eyes are smaller over here. I mean, it's better, make no mistake, this is better than what Overwatch has been doing in general, but it's also not what Jarvis is advocating for. This is what Overwatch 2 players have been asking for since months now, and again, Blizzard has done nothing, which is why people are worried, because it's like, It's months of, "Hey Blizzard, the new characters suck, can we get better designs?" And they sleep. And now some dingleberry with red hair pops up talking about Ozempic and shit like, "Hello Blizzard, I am the voice actress from the new character. The new characters suck, can we make them uglier against the patriarchy of beauty standards?" And Blizzard finally wakes up like, "Oh yes, of course, yes, we'll make the changes, thank you for the feedback." If making these faces less bland is what the actress really cared about, why did she make an entire song and dance about Ozempic and other nonsense? All this garbage about challenging standards and shit, like what are you doing? When you talk about this stuff, what you're saying is quite clear. You want ugly characters, that's it. So when I see her retweeting shit like this, it comes across as disingenuous. It's like she's either backtracking or weaseling her way in with a more moderate take, like pretending like she's a moderate girl with just really nice, reasonable intentions, when in reality her real intentions lie at garnering more support for bigger changes down the line. And it's like, but Dez, you're being paranoid. Am I really being paranoid? It's just pattern recognition at this point. This is how it works. You can draw examples that already exist. You start by saying something like, "Oh guys, we should have more diversity in video games," and then everybody claps, everybody partying with you, and then later down the line you're gaslighting studios to make politically correct games where you steal African artifacts from European museums as a gacha, or turning Dragon Age into an unrecognizable pile of garbage.
So, I'm non-binary.
We're gonna move on now with what came after, but as another example that I just really wish that Blizzard would learn from is what happened, I think, with not Gacha, it is a Gacha game though, Genshin Impact. I think it was Genshin Impact that had a bunch of like activist voice actors, specifically this one. I don't remember her name, I just remember her face, from one of the videos that I watched in regards to the situation, which was pretty crazy, with activist American voice actors, from the West, making demands and shit. And then the Chinese company, the ones that actually make the game over there, they just dropped her. They were like, "Okay, bye-bye, we're gonna use AI now." This is exactly how Western studios should deal with situations like these as well. You're an actor, do your job, voice the character, get your money, and go home. That's it. As a company, you start hearing these little voice actors getting together, advocating for shit, doing that little activism, riling people up in the community, pointing them at you, and you cave? What are you, stupid? I don't usually advocate for replacing talent with AI. If you've seen my videos talking about matters like these, you know my stance. But in cases like this, brother, you don't put up with these people. You don't let them run around making a bunch of noise and pointing people at you, you just get rid of them. Either hire someone else or replace them with AI. I mean, it's a live service. What are they doing anyway? Hey guys, let's plant the bomb on B. But anyway, back to the matter. So after all this, Blizzard came out and said, "Oh, we're listening, we're gonna go ahead and change the character's look, thank you for the community feedback, blah blah blah." The voice actress already celebrated, citing that the community was heard, they rose their voices, and make no mistake, it wasn't. Like, a ridiculous minority of it was heard, that's it. It's not that there aren't a bunch of players who are adamantly against fixing the issue where all the faces look similar, it's that they're worried that they change the character to look like garbage. It's something that happens too often. Concord wasn't patient zero for ugly characters, but it was a marking example. Overwatch itself has also suffered from this, we'll get there in a second. We also just got Horizon Hunters Gathering with this lovely cast on it. And who knows what else we'll be getting as time moves forward and these people, I don't know, just keep having say in making ugly characters even though obviously nobody wants them. Meanwhile, Marvel Rivals showed up and dominated with character designs that didn't bother with any of this activism nonsense and merely focused on making appealing, striking designs. The fear of the change isn't because people oppose improvement of the characters, it's because they fear that Blizzard will listen to everything that the voice actress advocated for. That's the core problem here. At the end of the day, it's Overwatch players have been complaining about bland character designs for months now, and Blizzard didn't give a shred of a shit, and only reacted now with a video from a voice actress which talks about making changes for the worst. This is why people are worried, and how could they not not be. They think they're gonna make the characters ugly by the voice actors' demands, because so far, after months, they've done nothing to address so many issues and demands that the community has. There's been videos, there's been forum posts, there's been drama on social media, and Blizzard just slept through it all. Because there's people online trying to dismantle this whole entire side of the issue. They're saying that everyone complaining about this doesn't know what they're talking about. There truly is a majority here that wants what the actress is advocating for, because apparently what the actress is advocating for is that the characters are too bland. Did they not watch the nearly 4-minute video? I watched it. I was in pain the entire fucking time, but I watched it. So there's this effort in trying to eliminate what's actually in front of us. Like, no. What the actress wants is not what the community wants. Make no mistake about that whatsoever. She wants Overwatch to look like fucking Concord. And so now that brings us to my ambivalence. That's why I haven't made a video about this, and even this one is one that I didn't want to make. I had people asking me, hey dude, are you gonna cover it? And I just didn't want to. I'm just so over this. So tired of seeing big companies in gaming making absolute clown decisions and then complaining about money, laying people off, project cancellations, etc. while crying about market conditions. Overwatch 2 has not been in a good place. It's been bleeding players. Now they're trying to go for a revival, and these are the kinds of decisions and the kinds of people that they're going to align themselves with? Brother, you may as well just quit the revival and just kill the game off. Listen guys, Overwatch 1, right, the first one way back in 2016, had massive success with the character designs. Like, they were just fantastic. It's one of those cases where the character designs themselves were even more popular than the game in some situations. I don't want to do a deep dive on this, so suffice it to say that this was in part thanks to obviously good artists, some of which I believe were even people who worked on legacy Street Fighter characters. So they kinda used the same type of inspiration where they were making these characters to be striking. Like, that was the #1 objective. Striking, marking characters. And another key component that is obviously part of that is that the character designs had zero boundaries imposed on them. Like, zero, dude. Not a single shred of any little activist hoes nagging at designers or ethics committees or HR going, oh, you can't make these female characters like that, this is objectifying them. No, you can't give that character that outfit, it's misogynistic. You can't give that character that body, it's enforcing harmful body standards. None of that weak shit was present. This was still done under an environment where game developers were actually allowed to make video games instead of political statements or representation. So in the end, it was a fantastic mix of highly skilled artists and designers that are gone by now, and zero modern audience bullshit chaining them down. In Overwatch 2, this changed. The designers, like, I don't know what happened, I don't know if it's burnout, skill issue or whatever, but a lot of Overwatch 2 characters just look very bland. It's really bad, fellas, okay? We're at a point where the characters from Highguard look more striking than the characters in Overwatch 2. Not all of them, of course, some Overwatch 2 characters are passable, but there's a lot of garbage in here. It's not even that they're ugly, it's that they're just meh, you know? They don't elicit anything. It's not just their faces either, but their outfits and features too. Like, if I was Jarvis making videos complaining to, my employers, that's what I would have focused on instead of virtue signaling about bullshit. And for Anran, her character, I would even complain about the outfit. Like, this is the character on screen right now. And as you can see, this is just an incredibly weak design. It's not that she looks ugly, again, it's like a cutesy anime-like character. But, where's the sauce? Where's the spaghetti bolognese? Where's the spice? Where's the seasoning? This is supposed to be Blizzard, not some indie developer. You compare this to the roster of Overwatch 10 years ago and it's night and day. They just can't capture that magic anymore, not because it's impossible, but because they're either lazy or unskilled. And then on top of that, you have Blizzard having these limitations now that have hit the games industry as a whole over the last few years, where anything like fan service is looked down upon as insensitive, politically incorrect, harmful to society standards because, you know, beauty standards and patriarchy and the male gaze, all of this nonsense that we talk about on this channel very often. Like, I don't want to be too harsh on this video, but I've seen retards in comment sections on social media saying that character designs in Overwatch have hurt the way people perceive real women in real life. Like, somehow they seriously believe that if a guy plays Overwatch and he looks at the girls, then he's going to go out and expect real women to look like these cartoonified versions of whatever of games that they're... There's not even a point to engage in discussion here. It's just over, fellas. When you hit this point, when you've fallen this low, it's just done. There's no point in even engaging. What we are witnessing is schizos who should be in insane asylums. They think Reddit is real life or something. Now, Overwatch 2 in general suffers from a couple of other issues that left the game's community very mad at Blizzard. The whole concept of the sequel itself just failed entirely, and now the devs are working on a revival type of thing, where they renamed the game back to just Overwatch and are promising new content. They lost a ton of players to Marvel Rivals because Marvel Rivals was just doing Overwatch 10 times better. Character designs and art style were also better than in Overwatch 2. No same face syndrome. I mean, some journalists complain that Emma Frost and the Invisible Woman, etc. look too much alike, but the problem that these journalists have is that they're white women who are blonde. That's really their issue, you know. They would rather have Emma Frost be blackwashed, and instead of being a thick white woman, they would rather have Lizzo or something, you know what I'm saying? And this is why you don't listen to these types of people, because they're how do I put this in a kind way? They have the IQ of the thug characters from the Batman games.
Hey man, what's the time? Seriously? What do you mean? We're posted on a rooftop opposite the biggest clock in Gotham, and you're asking me what time it is?
Marvel Rivals came out swinging with striking heroes. They don't look generic like in Overwatch 2, they look like protagonists, and yes, the women look straight up hot. Technically the men do too, but you know, it's basically fan service for everybody, because this was made by developers who aren't infected by the quote-unquote woke mind virus. Whether people support progressive views or not, it really doesn't matter here. Usually everybody who isn't too far gone appreciates beauty, conventional character designs, striking heroes, fit bodies, etc. So just go for that every time. You're guaranteed to sell more. You got some punk bitch coming in like, oh, I don't think we should do it. Bam, replace them with AI. Done. It's so easy nowadays. Or just hire me. If you're anti-AI, hire me. I'll come in, I'll voice your character. Ah, but Dez, you don't sound like a girl. Don't worry about it. Why are you worrying about that? We'll figure it out. What's most important is that you don't make stupid mistakes. Bland characters don't sell, and ugly characters sell even less. When you go down this road, all you're doing is opening yourself up for a competitor that doesn't do that, like Marvel Rivals, to come in and steal your player base. And so, in closing, actually I just noticed that the video's runtime is running around close to some other videos, so actually, yeah, never mind. But anyway, in closing, we are at the worst time possible for letting that kind of thing happen, which is a side thing, you know, like a pet peeve of mine that has me very frustrated. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm fine, you guys are fine too, we're good, we have stuff to eat as long as competitors show up to give us what we're missing from these other main companies. But it doesn't make it any less frustrating to see it happen regardless, because we see the state of the industry, we see how these companies are bleeding out, financially speaking. And so, these are just decisions that make no sense. It's impossible that by 2026 these people haven't learned their lessons yet. Stop listening to activists who dye the shit out of their hair and use platforms to lecture you. I mean, good lord man, Blizzard had their own players shouting at them for months complaining about shitty character designs. It's been months of this narrative being prominent among Overwatch 2 players, while Marvel Rivals stole their lunch, and these morons ignore them. And now, some random asshole shows up, makes a video, and in less than 2 days, they cave to even more extreme measures than the far simpler things that the players had been begging for. In the end though, to be completely fair, we still don't know what the redesign is going to look like. There's a chance that Blizzard will be lazy, as they've always been, and just change the face to have similar features, which would actually be kind of funny because Quirk Chungus Jarvis over here is all hyped up for this redesign, virtue signaling about body standards, and the body may very well not even be changed at all. She might still be, the Ozempic chic lady. There's also a chance, however, that they really are going to go full team voice actress and make radical changes to the body to defeminize her. One way or another, I'm not going to be here to find out because I don't do Overwatch. I played a bit of Marvel Rivals, that's where some of the footage I used here was from. I enjoyed playing as Hela for a while, and if I ever get the itch to play this type of game again, that's where I'm going to go. I'd play more often to be honest, but it's like 100 gigabytes install size. That's what keeps me from chilling out in these games more often. Free to play, but it occupies the place of like 10 other games, or hours and hours of background footage for my videos. Anyway, in conclusion fellas, Blizzard is a weak-ass company. They spent years being a god-awful place for women to work at. Now, after the shit hit the fan and all of that got exposed, they decided to sacrifice their games for absolution from woke culture. So anytime some woman activist pops up, harping on about bullshit like this, even if they don't have to listen, even if they've already gotten everybody fired was involved in all of those controversies, they listen anyway. They have cucked themselves so hard in their games recently that it's pointless to place your bets on them. Hell, you never know. You might even get Anra's redesign to come back in a wheelchair for disabled representation the same way that they did in World of Warcraft, where, in a universe where possibilities are near endless thanks to magic, the solution to being disabled is a pink magical wheelchair. Absolutely brilliant stuff, Blizzard. Keep it up. Anyway, that's it for this video, fellas. Thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts about this clown show down below. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and have yourselves a good rest of your week. I gotta go now, guys. I gotta go play High Guard. I gotta go play some High Guard now, guys. I've been enjoying so much High Guard lately. Take care.